Have you ever wondered what it takes to get ready for an Alaskan cruise in the middle of the summer? Well, I'm going to take you through that planning process. I've been planning for a cruise on Holland America Line to Alaska for July 2025. Stay tuned. Welcome aboard, travelers. I'm Christy McCullough, founder and CEO of Harbor and Holiday Travel Company. I'm so glad you found this channel where I will give you tips and tricks on all things travel, and I'll take you along on my travels with me. Now, the first thing you have to do is you have to decide which cruise line is the best for you. And at the time of filming this video, I've been on 3 different cruise lines. And there are many cruise lines that sail to Alaska. There's Royal Caribbean, there's Silver Seas, there's Disney, even Virgin Voyages is going to be sailing to Alaska soon. But there are only 2 cruise lines that I would ever take to Alaska, and that is Princess and the Holland America Line. You see, those 2 cruise lines have been sailing to Alaska longer than anyone else. And because of that, they have figured out all of the different details and how to get people around. But they also have secured some special privileges when sailing to Alaska. Both of those companies have preferential docking spaces at the ports, so they actually pull in a lot closer than some of the other ships, as well as they have a cruise tour that takes you to Denali National Park. You will board a train, which has its own car specifically for Princess or Holland America. And when you're at Denali National Park, either one of those cruise lines have their own lodges that they've built at the base. So when I was deciding to check off our bucket list of going to Alaska, I knew that it had to be one of those 2 companies, even though I have loyalty points with some other cruise lines. After having to make some changes to our initial summer 2024 vacation plans, we ended up on a Holland America cruise from Montreal to Boston. It went down the St. Lawrence River. It was amazing, and my husband loved it. So while we were on that cruise, I started researching all of the different itineraries for Alaska. And we settled on a cruise tour that starts on July 31st in Anchorage. We will take a train up to Denali National Park. We will stay there for a couple of nights. Then we will board a bus and come back to Whittier to get on the ship. I was really excited to find a southbound ship where we would start at one location and then we would end at another. I really like those types of cruises so that you're not just leaving a port, sailing, and coming right back. If you're flying to that first initial stop, like, why do you need to come back there? It's not like your car's there or anything. So for me, I feel like you get to see more destinations in that way. So after spending our 30th anniversary cruise with Holland America Line, we decided to book the Alaska trip with them. And I'll tell you that they have been traveling to Alaska for over 77 years. That's longer than Alaska has even been a state. And Holland America Line is a Dutch company who's been cruising for 150 years. So Holland America Line knows a thing or 2 about taking groups of people through beautiful landscapes and seeing all of the different animals. And quite honestly, I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to return to Alaska again, so I wanted to be sure that this was done right. I'm all about seeing the animals. I want to sign up for the excursions that will help me see the bears, the whales, the sled dogs. Those are all of the things that I have on my bucket list. And being a teacher, I really do love how Holland America Line will immerse you in the culture. They really bring the region onto the ship. And so you will have different speakers who will educate you about the ports that you're going to. They bring on the food. Fresh catches from that region right there will be brought onto the ship and they will prepare it. You can go salmon fishing and you can actually bring your own fish onto the ship and the chef will prepare it for your table that night. Isn't that amazing? So I love that they bring a park ranger on board when we are cruising through the Glacier Bay National Park so that we can learn all of the things that we can about this specific area. And they also bring in a first citizen, a Native American from Alaska, so that you can learn about the culture that's there. So I want to learn it all. I want to see it all. This is not a sit by the pool and drink your, adult beverage kind of trip. This is about a feast for the eyes and the senses and learning all I can about the region. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of fun to be had on the ship. Holland America is known for their live music. They have a music walk with a lot of fun live bands. They have comedians. They have lots of entertainment. Jim and I also are known to make some new friends when we go on a cruise. So last year, right as we were getting ready to sail away, we were up top on the ship and we were looking out at the bay, looking at the boats because, we're boaters and we're interested in those kinds of things. And another couple came up and they started talking to us. And they were boaters too. So we kind of struck up a conversation and we hit it off so well that we actually had dinner with them on several different occasions. It was so fun to kind of go out on our own during the day and do our excursions and then come back together in the crow's nest or next to the rock band in the evening and have conversations and catch up. We had such a good time making new friends that I actually had our picture taken by the ship's photographer. And when I went to go pick it up of us and our new friends, I was commenting that we had just met. And the photographer thought I was joking. She thought we had been friends for life because we just palled around so much on the ship and had such a good time. And so we're looking forward to those kinds of adventures as well because Holland America has a great music walk where they have dueling pianos, they have the Rolling Stone Lounge, they have a lot of live music, and Jim and I are up for that. So after we picked the cruise line, the next thing I wanted to do was really look at the itinerary. I was interested in an itinerary that included the new Amsterdam ship. It's one of their newer ships and has the music walk like I'm interested in with the live music. But I knew that we wanted to see Denali National Park. So a cruise tour is basically 2 vacations in one. And I signed up for the new Amsterdam ship leaving on July 31st so that we could be gone actually over our birthdays. We both have August birthdays, just a few days apart. So that seemed like the perfect itinerary. The other thing I wanted to make sure was that we would be cruising through Glacier Bay National Park because not all cruise lines actually get permits to do that. I once met a girl who had been on an Alaskan cruise and she was excited to take her new husband on the same type of cruise. Only she didn't realize that not all cruise lines have the same benefits. So the cruise line she decided upon didn't actually go to Glacier Bay National Park, and she was sorely disappointed. So I knew that the itinerary was really important, and I wanted to make sure that we would be able to do the Tundra Wilderness Tour when we're at Denali. I wanted to be sure that we're going through Hubbard Bay and Glacier Bay. And then I wanted to hit the 3 major cities, Skagway, Juneau, and Ketchikan before arriving at Vancouver, British Columbia. And I have ideas for the excursions that I want to do at each one of those cities. And they include seeing the animals. So once I picked the cruise line and now I have the itinerary, then the next thing I want to do is I want to pick a room. And quite honestly, there are a lot of people that will tell you if you're going to Alaska, you must have a balcony room because you want to see the wondrous beauty that'll be all around you as you cruise through the Inside Passage. And while I don't necessarily disagree with them, I do have an issue. My issue is that if there's any little peak of sunlight coming into my room, my body cannot go to sleep. or stay asleep in the morning. You see, I have this trouble, especially in the summertime when the sun comes up so early in Indiana. As soon as there's a crack of daylight, I know I have room darkening curtains and everything, but if there's a little crack of daylight, bing, my eyeballs are awake. Just ask my friends from the lake, they'll tell you. I had trouble staying asleep. And so while a balcony would be nice, I'm just really worried that I would not get the rest that I need in order to have my big full days of excitement and excursions. So we chose an inside stateroom. Now, we didn't choose the smallest inside stateroom and we didn't choose one in the belly of the beast, but we did choose a fairly larger inside stateroom in the middle of the ship, in decks, but also in midship, right? So we're not in the forward, we're not in the aft, we're in the midship. And so I'm excited about that. We just did a Royal Caribbean cruise on Utopia of the Seas. It was a multi-generational cruise with 10 of us from the Youngs family together. And Jim and I had an inside stateroom. And quite honestly, we're only in there to sleep and shower and get ready because Jim and I are such social beings that we want to be out and about. We want to be in the crow's nest. We will go to the front of the ship in Alaska because they will open up the helicopter pad. We want to be talking to people. There are so many comfortable places to sit and relax and see things. You don't have to be outside to see nature. You could still be indoors. So my biggest deal was I wanted to get on the ship. And the difference between an inside stateroom and a balcony is almost double per person. And I could use that money so much better on my excursions because, I want to take an airplane up through and see Mount McKinley. I want to be with the sled dogs. I want to see the humpback whale. Is that what it's called? The whale, any kind of whale that's in Alaska. I want to see it. And so I felt like rather than doubling the cost of just getting on the ship, that we would be fine with an inside stateroom. I would be able to sleep better, and I've got more money for those excursions. So that's where we are in the planning process. I have picked the cruise line, I have picked the itinerary, and I have picked our room. We recently booked it, making a $600 deposit with the final payment being due May 1st. And so this is actually a group cruise. If you think you would be interested in joining us this summer, 2025, then you have the opportunity to go ahead and book at a group rate. Now it's coming quickly. That ends on February 23rd at the group rate. But you would be more than welcome to join us on this trip. There are spots available all the way up till the final payment date on May 1st. So a lot of people want to know, what does it cost, Christy? What does it really cost to get on an Alaskan cruise tour type of vacation? Well, I'll be real honest. It's like two vacations in one. And so for Jim and I both to have transportation to Denali, lodging at Denali, transportation back to Whittier to get on the cruise ship. On the cruise ship, that includes all of our food as well. It was $6,000. So about $3,000 a piece for us to do this type of vacation in an interior room. And we also booked what Holland America calls the Have It All package. And so for $60 per person per day, it is not just a drink package, but it is also Wi-Fi. It's $100 toward an excursion. It is also a specialty dining night as well. And so although I don't even drink, the beverage package would pay for soda pop, it would pay for specialty coffees, all of those kinds of things. And if you have ever priced a drink package with some of the other competitors, it's like $85 per person per day. And that doesn't even give you any Wi-Fi or anything. And so we felt like it was a pretty good option. So $840 total, which would give us the Wi-Fi in case we need to be reached or we want to post some things, or sometimes my husband does do a little bit of work when we're on vacation if he needs to answer a question. So we felt like the Wi-Fi was important. Plus we'll be leaving our dog at home and you never know, there may be an emergency and we would need to be reached. But the special offer with the specialty dining and the $100 towards your excursions, that was a no-brainer. We knew we needed to do that. So for about $7,100, that's what we're doing to get on the Alaskan cruise. Those are the actual numbers. So the next step for me is to book our airfare. I had been doing some digging, and I think I found some flights that don't take super duper long and have 100 stops in them. Well, I exaggerate, but still, I wanted to get there in a reasonable amount of time. So I think I found those. I'm getting ready to book those. I will also be booking insurance. Jim and I have actually used trip insurance on 3 different big trips to Europe that we were going to take, and we got our money back. So that's important. The next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be booking those excursions because they fill up fast, and I don't want to miss out on my flight to Mount McKinley or my sled dog or my whale excursion, right? I want to be able to do all of those things. So I'll be planning those in the next couple of weeks. And then after that, it's time to get packing. I'll be able to pack a little bit earlier for this Alaska cruise because it's basically the type of weather that we would have in the Midwest in the fall, right? Like November or maybe even like early April when it's still in the 50s and 60s, a little rainy, drizzly, but not hot and sunny. And so since it'll be July in Indiana, I won't be needing any of that clothing, and I can go ahead and start getting packing early. So I just want to extend an invitation to you. If you think you would be interested in going on the Alaska cruise tour with us, it's not too late to sign up. The group rate will last through February 23rd, that is 2025, but there will still be openings if you need to book in April, or the final payment is due in May. However, if there are still some openings, then you would be able to book. You just would have to pay for the whole thing when you book it. If this timeline doesn't work for you, then no problem. You can work with me and we can plan your own Alaska trip at a different date. If you would be interested in booking a vacation, but not to Alaska, it's too far, it's too cold, or too expensive, I totally get it. And so I would be honored to help you plan any other vacations that you have on your bucket list. So guys, if you want any help at all, go ahead and reach out to me. The link to my client intake form and scheduler is in the description below. Go ahead and like this video if you found it helpful, and leave me a note in the comments and tell me, have you ever been to Alaska? So guys, thank you for joining me in this video. I'm Christy McCullough with Harbor and Holiday Travel Company. If I can help you in any way, be sure to reach out. And wherever you go on vacation, I hope you find joy in the journey.